Range troopers were among the most elite units in the Imperial military, so elite that they openly looked down on standard graduates from the Stormtrooper Academy as soft amateurs. Their reputation came from brutally demanding training and repeated deployment to some of the harshest environments in the galaxy. These troopers were routinely sent into frozen mountain ranges and extreme snowfields, where survival alone was a test of endurance. In many cases, they were forced to remain in the field for weeks without any chance of returning to base. Supplies were often limited, meaning range troopers had to rely on strict rationing, improvised shelters, and absolute discipline to stay alive. They were trained to operate independently and master a wide range of weaponry, from heavy rocket launchers to their standard E-10R blaster rifles. Their combat training pushed physical limits even further, preparing them to fight while standing upside down, sideways, or at unnatural angles. This was possible thanks to their magnetic gription boots, which allowed them to attach to moving vehicles during active combat. You won't believe how dangerous this actually was until you see it in action. Failure during training often resulted in severe injury or removal from the program entirely. This capability was shown clearly in the Solo film, where range troopers confronted Han and his crew while riding atop a high-speed train. Standing upside down on a vehicle moving roughly 500 kilometers per hour while exchanging blaster fire is not exactly a job for the faint of heart. Their armor reflected their specialized role, featuring unique van race armor and helmets that blended design elements from Imperial combat assault tank pilots and shore troopers. Thick external fur lining around the neck provided added protection against extreme cold and biting winds. One range trooper even appeared in Andor Season 2, where he attempted to shoot down the TIE Avenger and was instantly obliterated. With all this in mind, it becomes clear why these troopers earned a place on the list, even if only at the lowest rank. Purge troopers were elite Imperial Stormtrooper variants specifically trained to hunt Jedi and other Force-sensitive individuals. The term is sometimes confused with a droid unit from The Force Unleashed, which served as an early prototype for Dark Troopers. However, focusing strictly on biological units, Purge troopers were Stormtroopers assigned directly to the Inquisitorius. This close association meant they often operated under secrecy, deployed only on missions deemed too dangerous or sensitive for regular Imperial forces. They served as the primary enforcement arm of the Inquisitors and were deployed in the immediate aftermath of Order 66 to track down and eliminate surviving Jedi across the galaxy. Their equipment and training were tailored for anti-Jedi combat, giving them a distinct edge over standard Stormtroopers. Unlike typical troopers, they were taught to anticipate Force-enhanced reflexes and unpredictable combat styles. Purge troopers were proficient with specialized melee weapons, such as electrostaffs, shock batons, and Magna Guard-style weapons, allowing them to engage lightsaber-wielding opponents at close range. They were trained extensively in melee combat and proved surprisingly effective against Jedi. In addition, they received conditioning to resist mind tricks and were capable of using a wide variety of blaster weapons when ranged combat was required. Their armor was also reinforced to better withstand glancing lightsaber strikes. Purge troopers were originally composed of clone troopers left over from the Republic, but as time went on, they were gradually replaced by enlisted recruits. They appeared most prominently throughout the Jedi Fallen Order game series, where they fully cemented their reputation. As enforcers of the Empire, they stood out not only for their effectiveness, but also for their intimidating visual design. They clearly deserve a place on this list, even if it's difficult to rank them above Death Troopers. Still, they remain a serious contender and one of the Empire's most threatening anti-Jedi units. Storm Commandos, also known as Imperial Commandos or Shadow Scouts, served as the Special Forces branch of the Imperial military. The nickname Shadow Scouts came from their armor's resemblance to Black Scout trooper gear, though their equipment far surpassed standard Scout armor in both function and capability. In fact, their armor was considered one of the Empire's most impressive technological achievements. A key feature was a layer of reflect, an advanced polymer that bent light and sensor emissions away from the wearer, making Storm Commandos extremely difficult to detect. Their armor also housed a generator that produced a sound-dampening field, ensuring their movements made virtually no noise. Similar to Shadow Troopers, this allowed them to operate undetected in hostile territory. Each suit additionally contained a built-in personal shield for added survivability. Hidden weapon compartments were embedded throughout the armor, storing vibroblades, compact blasters, and even thermal detonators, which could be activated as a last resort to avoid capture. Storm Commandos typically operated in squads of 3 to 6 and were assigned high-risk missions such as infiltrating enemy bases to kidnap or assassinate high-value targets. Selection into their ranks was extremely competitive, and being chosen was considered a great honor within the Stormtrooper Corps. Their training focused heavily on counterinsurgency warfare, with an emphasis on neutralizing rebel threats before they could grow. Missions often included siege-breaking operations, sabotage, and dangerous extractions, roles once handled by clone commandos. Beyond direct combat, they were also tasked with destabilizing enemy systems, inciting revolts against anti-Imperial governments, and suppressing uprisings within Imperial-controlled worlds. Every Storm Commando was trained to use nearly every weapon in the Imperial arsenal, including pulse cannons used as sniper weapons, flamethrowers, heavy blasters, and rocket launchers. Some commandos specialized as tech operatives, carrying equipment to hack and splice computer systems. All were trained to operate a wide range of Imperial vehicles and starfighters. One notable example was the TIE Hunter, a fighter designed exclusively for Storm Commandos. Unlike most TIE variants, it featured deflector shields, a built-in hyperdrive, and S-foils similar to an X-Wing, making it both versatile and visually striking. Their resume speaks for itself. SCAR Troopers, short for Special Commando Advanced Recon Troopers, were elite soldiers within the Stormtrooper Corps who operated in small, highly specialized squads. The most well-known SCAR unit was Task Force 99, a 7-member team made up of individuals selected for their mastery in specific combat roles. Each member brought a unique skill set to the squad, allowing them to function as a perfectly balanced unit. Task Force 99 included a tech specialist, a sniper, a heavily built trooper for heavy weapons, a scout, a demolitions expert, a pilot, and a sergeant who led the group. Their armor was customized to enhance their individual roles, and they received the highest level of training the Empire could provide. The sergeant wore reinforced Stormtrooper armor with a distinctive red pauldron, marking his command. The SCAR Scout was equipped with mechanical arms to boost physical strength and carried an assortment of blades for close combat. The sniper specialized in long-range engagements, trained to use multiple sniper blasters with extreme precision, and wore a hooded cloak that only added to his intimidating presence. Every member of the team was designed to excel under pressure, making SCAR Troopers one of the most adaptable and dangerous units the Empire ever fielded. The heavy artillery expert was typically an exceptionally large and powerful trooper, outfitted with reinforced body armor that allowed him to charge directly into enemies and dominate in close quarters combat. The pilot was equipped with a jetpack, a remote control for the squad's shuttle, and the ability to fly virtually any captured vessel, as well as all Imperial fighters and transports. The tech specialist could slice into nearly any system and was also trained to operate with a jetpack when missions demanded it. The demolitions expert handled an arsenal of heavy weapons, including flamethrowers, rocket launchers, and other destructive tools. As a unified unit, SCAR Troopers were among the most effective squads the Empire ever fielded, capable of succeeding in almost any mission assigned to them. Every member was personally selected by Darth Vader himself, as becoming a SCAR Trooper was considered one of the highest honors within the Stormtrooper ranks and the ultimate promotion. The leader of Task Force 99 was Sergeant Creel, who famously recovered a lightsaber from a Hutt's lair and went on to wield it during certain missions. This made him one of the very few Stormtroopers to ever use a lightsaber, and he showed surprising skill with it. Hazard Troopers were an absolute menace on the battlefield. They wore some of the most durable and specialized armor the Empire ever developed. Their suits provided full protection against extreme temperatures, immunity to corrosive acids, and resistance to nearly all forms of small arms fire. Each suit also functioned as a complete environmental system, capable of sustaining its wear in space or underwater for up to 3 days at a time. This made them ideal for missions in toxic wastelands, industrial disaster zones, or sealed-off facilities where normal troops could not survive. The integrated life support reservoir supplied breathable air enriched with beneficial microbes designed to support the troopers' health during extended deployments. Shockingly, the armor could even withstand limited direct contact with a lightsaber. Hazard Troopers themselves were cyborgs created through extensive cybernetic augmentation. Recruits underwent radical procedures where natural limbs were removed and replaced with mechanical prosthetics, modifications necessary to operate the massive suit. These alterations stripped away much of their humanity, turning them into living weapons designed for attrition warfare. They were typically armed with heavy repeating blasters or concussion rifles. In some deployments, Hazard Troopers were used as frontline shock units, advancing slowly while absorbing enemy fire that would annihilate standard troopers. Their near indestructible armor came with one major drawback, as mobility was noticeably reduced, making them slower than most troopers. However, in confined environments where escape was impossible, this weakness mattered far less. Still, their overwhelming durability earns them this placement, sitting just outside the top ranks, even if their exact deployment role remains somewhat unclear. The Night Troopers were unlike any Stormtrooper force the Empire had ever fielded. These soldiers were the last remaining Imperial Stormtroopers loyal to Grand Admiral Thrawn during his long exile on the extragalactic world of Peridea. After Thrawn's Star Destroyer, the Chimera, was dragged through hyperspace by Purrgil during the liberation of Lothal, his forces became stranded far beyond the known galaxy. Cut off from reinforcements, supplies, and the Empire itself, these troopers endured years years of isolation under Thrawn's command, slowly transforming into something far more terrifying than standard Imperial infantry. What truly separated the Night Troopers from other Stormtrooper variants was their connection to the Night Sisters known as the Great Mothers. Through powerful Night Sister magic, the Night Troopers were energized, granting them an inhuman level of persistence and endurance in combat. While many of them remained living soldiers, those who fell in battle did not always stay dead. Using the chant of resurrection, the Great Mothers could reanimate fallen Night Troopers, raising them as undead soldiers who would continue fighting with relentless aggression. Whether alive or reanimated, every Night Trooper represented death made manifest on the battlefield. Their loyalty to Thrawn was absolute. The Night Troopers openly chanted his name and willingly volunteered for suicide missions if it meant securing his return to power. Even in death, they continued to march and fight in his honor, forming a force that blurred the line between disciplined military unit and supernatural army. This loyalty was on full display when volunteers stayed behind on Paradia to delay Jedi pursuers, fully aware they would likely die and be resurrected only to fall again. Visually, the Night Troopers reflected their brutal history. They wore standard Stormtrooper armor that had been shattered, cracked, and repaired countless times. These fractures were sealed with gold and gray material, giving their armor a haunting, almost ceremonial appearance. Red cloth strips were wrapped around their armor, reinforcing their connection to Night Sister magic and symbolizing blood, sacrifice, and death. Even Thrawn's elite guards, including Death Troopers and the TIE pilots, adopted similar markings. In combat, Night Troopers used standard Imperial weaponry such as E-11 blaster rifles, E-11D carbines, and SE-14R repeating blasters. However, their greatest strength wasn't firepower, it was persistence. Undead Night Troopers could absorb lethal blows, rise again, and continue advancing with almost no loss of accuracy. This forced Jedi like Ezra Bridger, Ahsoka Tano, and Sabine Wren into retreat when they realized the troopers simply would not stay down. The Night Troopers made their first appearance in Ahsoka and instantly became one of the most unsettling Imperial forces ever shown on screen. They were not just remnants of the Empire, they were proof that under Thrawn's command, even death itself could be weaponized. From elite specialists to experimental horrors and undead legions, the Empire's Stormtrooper program was never about uniformity. It was about control through escalation. Each of these variants existed to solve a specific problem, whether that meant surviving impossible environments, hunting Jedi, or refusing to die at all. Together, they revealed just how far the Empire was willing to push its soldiers to maintain power no matter the cost. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out more related content shown on screen.